Hey, the niche is dead. And if you're looking for one, then hashtag you're 10 years too late. Let me say that again. The niche is dead. And if you're looking for one, then hashtag you're 10 years too late. Now, before all of you start shouting at me, you're going to have to hear me out. But before I do that, what I want to do is say welcome to another Business Booster live stream. In these live streams, we look at exactly what's needed for potential aspiring coaches or established coaches in order for them to find out what they need to have in their business or what they need to shift or change in their business in order for them to either be able to go finally full time or to quickly scale to their next financial level. And in this video, we're going to be looking at the niche, the concept of the niche, and why I say the concept is dead. Now, just a bit of housekeeping. If you are watching this live, please let me know. Go hashtag live in the comments below. And if you're watching it on a replay, then again, please hashtag replay below and let me know where you're tuning in from, okay? Because I know we have people tuning in from all over the world to these Business Booster live streams. So I'd love to know exactly where you're tuning in from. Now, let me tell you a little bit about why the niche and this subject is really close to my heart. Well, for a very long time, I've been coaching now for 4 years, full time, running a successful coaching business. But before that, I must have had around 3 to 4 years of absolute hell. Okay. And when I say absolute hell, I mean hell, not being able to grow my business, struggling with who I should be targeting, struggling with what my message should be or how I should get it out there, struggling to get to the stage where I could actually run my coaching business full time. Imagine how frustrating it is, right? And I know you can resonate with me on a level where you know you've got something absolutely amazing to share with the world, right? You know that what you know and have could transform somebody's life. But then, for some reason, your message and what you do is just getting overlooked over and over and over again, right? That's like a living hell. It's like feeling like the best kept secret. If you feel like the best kept secret, comment best kept secret below. If you're resonating with any of this, just let me know, comment below, because I want this to be an interactive thing. It is absolutely frustrating when you know that you are born to do something, when your calling is to help a group of people, but you're not able to get your message out there, or worse, you beat yourself up because you don't feel that you're articulating your message clear enough or strong enough, right? I think you can agree with that. And that was me. That was me, let's say 8 years ago. And it wasn't until I found out the information that I'm going to be sharing with you inside this video. And I'm telling you, it's very, very juicy stuff, because I'm talking about new age stuff. The niche has been around for millennia. I mean, you will agree with me. Whenever you're starting out anything, any kind of business, I specialize in coaches and coaching businesses. But the very thing we're told, right, as coaches, is we have to find our niche. Oh, we do that exercise where we create the avatar, right? And you write down things like their name and their age and their location, all of that jazz, right? So we understand that that is almost the very first thing that we need to do. But what we have to recognize is that times have changed. Okay, it was all well and good to find your niche, but now, if you want to be able to communicate with people, you want to be able to be attracting them to your business, you need to go deeper, right? It's not about the niche anymore. And I'm going to tell you what it's about, but just trust me when I say that you've got to now be taking this concept to a whole nother level. Now, before I delve into exactly what it should be, just to let you know, at the end of this, I'm going to be giving you an opportunity to have a conversation with me, where I'm going to help you to get laser focused on your niche, and what you need to do to be messaging them and communicating with them in the right way that actually encourages them to become customers of yours, right? It's not just this whole attraction marketing thing. It's a bit of an icky word to me, right? Because it's something that's rife right now. Sit back and let your message attract your audience, right? And yeah, sometimes it happens. right? But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. And unless you're creating opportunities for yourself to have conversations with people, then it's very difficult, especially if you are starting out, to really grow this business. And if you've been stuck struggling to communicate your message, if you've been struggling to find your audience, if you've been stuck struggling to be able to leave your day job and transition into your passion driven business full time, if you've been stuck struggling to scale your business to its next financial level, then what I've got to share with you is definitely what's holding you back. And as I said, I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a conversation with me, no obligations at all, just to help you to get really focused in on what it is that you need to do and how you can take your business to the next level, right? But before we get to all of that, I want to dive into this juicy content. I want to give you exactly what you need to be doing to be communicating with your message communicating with your niche in the right way. And so I'm going to share my screen as I always do, and let's dive into this topic. So as I've said, the niche is now dead. Okay, and now we need to be thinking about how we can communicate in a deeper, more connected way in this saturated digital age. Okay, great. So you should now be seeing my screen live and direct. And let's dive into this juicy, juicy content. Okay, so where are you now presently? Okay, maybe you're worried that your message is not dialed in enough. How many times do we have that fear, right? When we're not getting the reaction that we want, or we're not attracting the people that we want, or the clients into our business, then we have that fear, right, that our message is not dialed in enough. And if you're having that fear, then 9 times out of 10, you are actually right. Okay. But what you shouldn't be doing is trying to change that and go after a different niche. What you need to do is understand how to communicate on a deeper level and realize that it's no longer about communicating with the niche at all. Maybe you're struggling to hone in on what makes you or your business unique, right? That is so key. If you want to stand out, you have to be unique. Okay. And the only way that you can be unique is if you delve in deeper and start really communicating with people on a very deep and unique level. Maybe you feel like um, little fish in a big pond, right? Who wants to feel like the little fish in a big pond? We want it the other way around, right? We want to be the big fish in a little pond. We want to be kind of dominating our industry. We want people to be coming to us and being attracted to us. But the only way that you're going to make that happen is if you're getting your communication level right. And it's not. I'm going to repeat it again. You're going to hear me say this a lot of times. It's not focusing in on the niche. Maybe you are feeling that your business or service is being overlooked again and again, right? That feeling of, I've got something amazing. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to change the world. But for some reason, people are just not getting it. Maybe you're struggling to get your paid ads to work. I know that was a big one for me. Until I mastered this, my paid ads were not working. No matter how many times I changed the video, no matter how many times I changed the picture, no matter how many times I used the bright pink picture as opposed to the gray one, right? Because that's one of the things that they talk about, choose the bright picture. No matter how many times I pumped money into testing different ads, I did not get my ads to work until I mastered what I'm about to share with you. Maybe you're struggling to get clients to replace your day job income. You're in a job that you do not like, or not that you don't like it, you're just bored, right? And as I say, being bored is oftentimes worse than actually hating something. Because when I'm bored, I can speak for myself. I just want to sleep. I just feel like my life isn't worth living. And if you could find me a cliff to jump off, I probably would, because at least will give me some kind of thrill, right? Um, do you wonder why people are not getting you or your message, or how you can stand out in the saturated internet market? If that's where you are at, then you need to stay tuned. Maybe you're feeling like the best kept secret. Could you imagine, right? You've got something that could change so many lives. I know with my clients, they have things that can change people's lives. But if you don't get your message out there and you're not knowing how to communicate with people, then you're going to just be the best kept secret. Maybe you're new to coaching, and if you are, well, lucky for you that you landed on this one. That's all I can say, because now you're going to understand what you need to do to really rapidly move your coaching business to the next level. So where do you want to be? Maybe you want to be sure about who you should be attracting and how you should be attracting them. Clarity. Isn't that all we crave? Isn't it just about being clear? Right? In fact, one of the things I notice so much, having worked in this industry, is sometimes people are really, really clear. Okay. And then the smallest thing, the smallest thing suddenly throws them off tangent, right? Takes them off of a pathway which they are seeking success on, right? But the key is because people are trying to find clarity. And one thing I will say is you can get clear, but then you also at the same time have to stick with something for a while to solidify that clarity. Okay, clarity is not a thing that happens overnight. Okay, something to remember, clarity is something that needs proof over time to then solidify the clear picture in your mind. And that's not something that people often remember or think about when they talk about wanting to be clear. Maybe you want to be able to articulate what it is that you do. You know, being very, very clear with your message. That's important. When someone asks you what you do, if you can't articulate with pinpoint accuracy, then it comes across as waffly. And if it's waffly, then it seems like you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. And a lot of that stems from speaking to the niche as opposed to what I'm going to show you in this video. Maybe you wanted to have kicked your boss and your unfulfilling job to the curb, and you now want to be in your passion driven business full time. I know this was literally something that was I would think it was responsible for making my heart beat when I was stuck in my 9 to 5, okay, not able to transition out of my business. This was all that was on my mind. And I make it responsible for my passion and my drive that enabled me, okay, to be able to transition into my full time business full time, into my passion driven business full time. Why? Because I was able to generate 30K in 8 weeks. And that was a game changer. Once I had that lift off, I was gone. And maybe that's what you need right now. Maybe you're looking for that lift off. You know, once you get your foot firmly in the door, you're gone, but something is holding you back. And it's usually down to just not being able to communicate effectively with your audience. Maybe you want people to instantly see the value in what you have. Okay. Now, this is something that we all want. The biggest and the greatest want this. And I also find that the biggest and the greatest teach this. You know, our greats like Tony Robbins, etc. Right now, not to rain on their bonfire at all, but one of the things that we have to recognize, especially when we're growing, scaling our business or taking it to the next level, that you can't just sit back and be idle and just expect opportunities to come to you. Okay, because the people that are sitting back and being idle and allowing those opportunities to come to them, they're pumping thousands and thousands of pounds into advertising, okay, to buffer them from essentially what comes along with the territory, a bit of rejection. Yeah, I'm gonna just be real with you. Like, if you're in the coaching industry and you're not ready for some rejection, you're in the wrong industry. Okay, because rejection comes wherever you are, whatever industry you're in, there's an element of rejection. Even the biggest and the greats, the Tony Robbins, have rejection. And why do I say that? Because they will put a post out, right? And they will put maybe 5, 6K of advertising per day. Yeah, 6K per day on that ad, and it will go out to, let's say, 100,000 people, right? Or it'll make 100,000 impressions, if not more. Do you think they get 100,000 people coming into their business? No, they do not. Okay, they get a handful of that 100,000 coming into their business. And then from there, they have sales teams that convert those people for them to then have a running, thriving business. Okay, and when you're starting out, unless you've got those crazy budgets to spend, and I don't care what anyone wants to say when they say to you, yeah, you can just put, £5 a day and £10 a day. Obviously, for some people, it may work, but for the majority, it does not. Okay, and this is something that people really have to understand. Yeah, so when I say if you want people to instantly see the value that you have, it's about having powerful communication with them, okay, and talking to them on a deep enough level, whether that be in an organic framework or whether it comes via advertising, okay, but it's still about understanding how deep you need to go to communicate with that particular person. Maybe you want to be bringing in your first 10K into your business. You know, that was one of my dreams. That was like a real milestone for me. I wanted to be bringing in my first 10K, and I wanted to have it consistently bringing 10K into my business every single month, right? Because it signified a level of freedom for me. Okay. And maybe that's what your milestone is, or something in and around that figure. Okay. And if that's where you want to be, then again, the information I'm going to share with you is going to help you to get there. Maybe you want to create impact and change the world in your small way. This is what we have to recognize, people. It's not about talking to everyone. Not everybody's going to be your client. Even when you're speaking to them, it doesn't mean that they are your client, okay? You can't serve everyone, but we can all change the world in our own little way. And that's what we have to really recognize and really tap into if we want to make it in this industry. Maybe you want to have to stop being sensible with money. Okay, be bringing in enough money where you can just relax a little bit and be like, yep, I can afford that. I can do that. I don't need to check out whether or not I can have that next holiday. I know I can have it. Maybe that's the attitude that you want to have. Okay, so let me ask you, who wants to know the number one biggest problem that I find when it comes to coaches and their messages? Let me know in the chat. Say biggest problem below. If you want to know the biggest problem that I find when it comes to coaches and their messages, because I am almost convinced that you are doing this too. Okay, so let's get the drum roll out as we normally do, because I'm about to drop the bomb, and the bomb is that you are not talking to you are talking or too busy talking to the niche and not being specific enough. Okay, and by that I mean the niche is dead. What we need to be focusing in on is the micro, and I'm even going to say one more, micro niche. Okay, let me say it again. The niche is dead, because what we need to be focusing on is the micro niche. So what do I mean by this? Well, essentially, I don't know if you know the Lenore advert. Okay, there's an advert that was out in the UK, and it was Lenore is like a product that you use for laundry to make your laundry smell nice. And they came up with a concept called going nose blind. And what it basically meant was, you know, when you walk into a room and you smell something, right? And you can smell it instantly, like if something smells weird. But then after being in that room, let's say for 5 minutes, suddenly you don't notice the smell anymore, right? And it's not until you go out and come back in, or someone else comes back into the room, it's like, what's that smell? Then you say, oh, I can't even smell it anymore, right? Well, that was what their concept of nose blind was. It was the fact that you were in the environment so much that you don't even recognize that something's not smelling as good as it should do. Well, I am convinced that your audience is now message blind. And if you're communicating to someone at the niche level, which the niche level in my eyes is the wider market, then your message is not deep enough. And as a result, your audience has gone message blind, i.e., they're not even registering your message anymore. They're not even connecting with what it is that, I don't know, your cover photo's saying, or they're not connecting with what your advert is saying, because it's not going deep enough into their level of pain. And this is where we need to get to as coaches if we want to be able to go to the point where we start having thriving businesses. We need to now really communicate on the level where it makes someone stand up and take notice. And the only way that you can do that is if you're no longer communicating to a niche, but now you're thinking about, where can I find my micro niche? Who is my micro niche, and how can I get in front of them? And this is where you're going to win all day long if you are trying to scale your business to the next level, or your next financial level, or if you want to be in your passion driven business full time. So let me delve into this a little bit more deeper. You have to be intentionally polarizing with your message. I can't tell you how many people I speak to, and the very first thing that they say to me is, oh, my product can help this person, and it can also help this person, and it can do this, and it can do that, and it can do. Look, I'm sure your product can do everything and the kitchen sink, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you're trying to market to everyone, you are marketing to no one. Okay, if you're trying to go to the niche, everyone, you are not marketing to anyone. And that's how bad it's got, right? Because before people were saying to you, niche in, right? But now that's not enough. You need to go in deeper, and you need to go in deeper, and you need to go in deeper. Okay, and the reason why I've got this guy's face on the screen um, is I don't know if you know him at all, or if what your views are on him. And I particularly don't like him, right? And that's why it's prime that I'm actually using this as an example. Piers Morgan. Now he's someone that's fundamentally in the UK. He's been in America, but one of the things that he does is when he speaks, he either has people raving for him or he has people absolutely hating him, right? He doesn't have that kind of lukewarm place in the middle. He either has those raving for him or he has those hating him. And he actually likes it like that because at the end of the day, everyone's talking about him, right? And as I said, whether you like him or not, let's look at the example. You want to create a message that has people raving for you, and it repels the people that are not interested in what you've got to offer, right? And that's what I'm trying to show here. You want to be magnetic to the people that you want, the people that you want to be bringing into your business. And at the same time, you want to be repulsive to the people that you don't want. And if you're scared to be in that place, if you are someone that just wants to be loved and liked by everybody, this is the problem you are having. Let's say you're speaking to someone in Messenger, okay, and you can tell that you're helping, you can help them. Let's take it right down to the basis of a conversation, okay, and they're saying some things to you which isn't quite adding up, and you can see the flaw that they've got going on, which is stopping them from getting the result you know you can get them. But you're scared to potentially offend, okay, you're scared to potentially speak your truth, okay, and give them the truth, which is probably what they're missing. That's probably what they're asking for. As they're delivering all of this to you and saying whatever they're saying to you, they probably just need to hear a moment of truth, or to be shown what their mindset is that's holding them back. But because you want to be lukewarm, you don't want to offend everybody, you want everyone to like you are not willing to go to that level of depth of communication that you need to in order to create the win-win situation. And when I say a win-win, I mean a win-win. Because if someone works with you, you stand for their transformation, you speak your truth, and you show them what's going on for them. And if they get to the point where they recognize that you've got something that can help them and they potentially become your client, then that's a win-win situation. They are no longer stuck procrastinating in their world, but head buried in the sand. They're now moving forward, and you reciprocate that because you then get paid, right? So this, what I'm talking to you about, is not just about the messaging. It's also about your level of communication. And I find a lot of coaches are not gutsy enough. You haven't got the guts to just say it how it is. It's a lot of beating around the bush. And if that's you, then it's got to stop, right? Because you can't stand for someone's transformation if you can tell that they're, let's say, BSing you, or they've been brought into something that isn't serving them, and you not hold the mirror up and say, this isn't serving you right now. But do you know what? That takes balls and it takes guts to be able to do that. But that's where we have to go in this day and age. That's the level of connection where we have to go in this day and age in order to really connect with our audiences. So the question you may be asking is, how do I do this? Right? How do you do it? Yeah, let me know if you want to know how to do it in the chat below. Ask me, how do you do it? Jor'EL, how do you do it? The way that you do it is you learn how to talk to a portion of your niche, okay? A portion of that wider audience. You begin to find characteristics and you niche it in right down, okay, to a portion of that audience. And you have to understand that people will spend money with the most specific message. Now, let me show you what I mean and why this is important. It's important because if you're struggling right now to create a product, then this is going to help you to create a product. And it's even more important if you're struggling to actually communicate your product in any which way. Okay, whether that be via messenger, whether that be bumping into someone in the street, whether that be via a Facebook ad, whether that be via a YouTube ad, whether that be via your cover photo, wherever, because where do you never know when your audience is coming from. That's what makes this such an exciting environment, right? Because you're putting out lots of different things, and some people will be attracted to you from what you said. Other people, you will go in and have a conversation with them, and you will highlight where they're going wrong, and they'll be attracted to you this way. There's a many ways, as they say, to skin the cat, but the one thing you can't not do is communicate with them on a deep enough level. Okay, and if you're looking to create a product right now, something that's different, then you want to delve into the portion of the wider market. So let me ask you this. Which would you pick? Let's say you're getting married. Yeah, guys, you too, you're in on this one. Okay, you're about to get married. All right, and you've been given the task of choosing the photographer. All right, so which photographer would you choose? Now, let's just set some parameters. You've seen examples of their work. Okay, so you know that their work is equally as amazing. Okay, but which one would be more of a pull to you? The person who communicated themselves as just a photographer, or the person who communicated themselves as the wedding photographer? Do you get that? Like just going into the niche. Because I mean, the wedding photographer, let's think about it. When you get a camera out, we do it with our phones all the time, right? We pick up a phone and we take a snap. We take a snap. Everyone's become a photographer nowadays because of the power they have in their pocket. Okay. So a photographer they can take shots for actors and do headshots. They can take shots of pets and do pet shots. They can do shots at weddings. Like there's so many different things that I'm sure the person who describes himself as a wedding photographer, I'm sure he still has the ability to point and shoot and take pictures of all these different things, right? But that's what we assume. We think the photographer is potentially a generalist in this moment. And our need is we want a wedding photographer. We've got a wedding coming up. So we're going to investigate the wedding photographer even more. And then let's throw another layer into the mix. Let's say your wedding is happening in London. Okay. I'm in the UK, so I have to use London. Okay. And then the other photographer is in Manchester. Again, now you've not only got a wedding photographer, but you've got a London based wedding photographer. All of a sudden, this person is definitely going to win your business over the other photographer, on the proviso, of course, that the level of skill is the same. And this is what I'm talking about when I say going into the micro niche, getting clear on those nitty gritties and those distinctions. Another funny story. Okay, me suffering from cold and flu. Actually, it wasn't me, it was a friend of mine suffering from cold and flu. And they went into the supermarket to get themselves some Lemsip. Because that was the brand. It's a massive brand, right? So when you have cold and flu, the very first brand you're going to think of is Lemsip. Lemsip. So they're going into the supermarket with that intention in mind. And it just so happens a couple of rows down, they see this bad boy, man flu. Now they're a guy. In their mind, they've got flu. Also in their mind, front of mind, was Lemsip. But because this says man flu and they associate themselves with being a man and with having flu, the brand that was front of mind gets displaced. And now all of a sudden, this brand, which is brand new, but what they've done cleverly is they've found a way to place themselves in the market in a way that really speaks to a specific part of their niche. Whereas Lemsip is now talking to the niche, they're speaking to their micro niche. That's how you can beat the likes of, let's say, Tony Robbins. And as I said, I don't believe in competition, okay, because everybody audience will be attracted to them. There's enough people out there. However, you need to give them and justify the reason why they should be listening to you, especially if you're starting out in the industry, because they've seen these other brands, right? So that's where you have the ability of having powerful communication, speaking to them on this micro niche level, okay, or micro niche level, in order to get them to really see why you are more effective than, let's say, the lemsip of the coaching industry or the lemsip of the people in your industry. All right, my question to you is, who would you be more equipped to support? An acquaintance, someone that you've met a couple of times, or a good friend, someone that you know inside and out? You've watched their children grow up. You've played badminton with them. You've been on holiday with them. You every now and again go out and have a drink with them. Who are you going to be more best placed to help? I know that I would be more best placed to help a good friend. And if you agree with me, let me know in the comments below. Agree. I understand, and I put the caveat out there. Sometimes you're too close to your good friends; they don't listen to you. They'll rather listen to a stranger. But my question was, who would you be more equipped to help? Definitely the person that you know more, right? And that's what we're talking about here. Get to know your audience more. Have conversations with them. All right, so how to find the right audience and message? Well, as we've spoken about, you've got the niche, okay, that wider audience. So what you then want to do is delve into that and look at what could 3 audiences within that be. And then you want to dive even deeper and then think about, okay, with one of those audiences, what's the exact message that would resonate and communicate with them? And that's how you begin to dive into your micro niche. Now, one of the things I want to say to you is just to add a fine tune upgrade to this. If you're creating a product, it's good to be able to create a product for the wider audience. Let's say you've got, for example, I do coaching. I'm very specific on the people that I can help, but to help them, there's lots of different strategies, okay, that could potentially work for that individual person, right? So, um, over time, as I learn more, I add to my training and add the level of depth that's needed, right? And this is what I love about when you create a business and a brand that really suits you. It means that as you grow, your business can grow. It pains me when someone is constantly having to reinvent the wheel, right? Because they know that they've got something bigger to do in the world, but they've confined themselves into a little box. And what I mean by that is that they just create something for the now, and it doesn't give them the ability to grow, right? And so then they outgrow the thing that they created and then have to reinvent the wheel and do something else. And this is the difference between having a brand, and this is a story for another conversation, but you know, I'm someone that likes to give, right? I just tell you how it is. When you have a brand that you sit under, the brand can be kind of the wider umbrella. Like, let's say the brand is for the niche, as it were, but with your messaging, okay, how you communicate through that vehicle, that's when you delve into your micro niche. So when you're creating a product, it's okay if you've got a product that can suit a number of different people within your space. However, when you're going out to communicate at any particular moment in time, you need to think about who you're going to communicate to at that particular moment. Right? Let's look at the example I gave earlier with man flu. So I am almost cocksure that whatever's in lemsip is probably exactly the same as is in man flu. It's probably the same ingredients, right? It's just different packages and different names. Now, man flu have decided to come out and target men specifically in that niche. They may now come out later on, change the packaging, and decide to target women. And now you have the man flu one, and then you have the woman flu one. But the fact of the matter is, they haven't done what Lemsip has done, which is like, okay, I'm just going to target everybody, right? So that's the difference. And that's what I'm saying. When you're doing your wider audience, as it says up here, you can create a product for the wider audience. But when you're communicating in your messaging, you have to go on the micro niche level. I hope I've made that very, very clear. Let me know if you're very clear on that in the comments below. And as I say here, only devise a message for advertising at this level. This is one of the problems which you're probably facing if you're doing Facebook ads right now. Your message is just not deep enough. It's not ticking the boxes, right? It's not deep, it's not connecting with the deep-rooted pain. Because as I said, your audience is message blind. They've seen so many messages that they've scrolled through the feed to your particular ad, let's say. So many of them that they've gone blind to it. They just scroll past it, right? So that's why, because your message is not deep enough, it's not actually hitting them to the point where it makes them take notice. Okay, so now let me get real with you. If you're struggling with the following: paid ads, trying to create engaging content, finding your micro niche, okay, trying to create a brand and a message that's attractive, trying to bring sales into your business. If you're struggling with any of that, let me tell you what that is usually an indication of. It's an indication that you are not having enough conversations, or you are thinking what your audience wants versus you validating what it is that they want. And I'm not going to go deep into this because I've already told people how to do the validation process. I've got a training on that. So if you want access to that training, comment validation below. Okay, but what I'm trying to say here is there's an element within your business where you have to go, as I would put it, into the trenches and start having conversations. And this is the difference between organic and paid advertising. Okay, because organic advertising means that you go in and you have conversations, let's say with people inside Messenger, and you transition them into a call with you. And oftentimes people are so scared of this level of communication. I don't know why, it's just having a conversation. Yeah, but people are very scared of this level of communication. And so what people tend to do is they want to do the whole click funnels, landing page, and all of that kind of stuff. But guess what? Because you haven't gone in and got that knowledge and spoken to people and felt some of the rejection and retweaked and addressed your message and molded it and shaped it, you don't have the level of content that you need, okay, in order to be able to create these posts or to be able to create the message. You don't have the words coming out of your client's mouth itself. Now, I understand there is definitely room for your own experience, okay, having your own story or having your own learned experience. I know that there's room for that. But again, we always see things from our own perspective. We can't but do otherwise, right? We can't not see something from our own perspective. And so it's no good just hammering your perspective. You can use that to give you a baseline of where you can start off at, but you need to go and have conversations with people. And if you are stuck right now trying to create a landing page, trying to fix Facebook adverts, trying to create complicated funnels, and you're not having these conversations, this is why you will remain stuck. Or you will burn such a big hole in your pocket that you're going to be left with no choice but to go back to a day job, right? To be able to keep a roof over your head and pay the bills. These tactics that I'm explaining here, I use them. But why do I use them? Because I'm at the stage now where I can scale. And if I want to scale my business, then I can use that. Why? Because I did my fair share of being in the trenches, right? Speaking to people, communicating with them, understanding what they want from an offer, if I want to be able to help them, and using that in a way for me to now be able to scale my messaging. So important. If you're just sitting there waiting for your message to land and people to suddenly come rushing to you, or if you have this aversion of speaking to people about what it is that you do. I mean, so many people have this aversion that they turn it around and say that it's a bad thing. How can you talking to someone be a bad thing about what you can help them with if it's going to help them? All right, it's a bad thing if you can't help them with what you're telling them you're going to help them with. Yes, 100%. If you don't believe in your product or service enough, then yes, it's a bad thing and you shouldn't do it. But if you know you've got something that can really transform that person's life, and you don't have the conversation with them to get them to know that, or pay the money for ads to get them into your business, then that's on you, right? That's something that's going on in your mindset, and you need to figure what that is out, because that's what's holding your business back. Because all you're doing is having a conversation. And yes, as I said, when you do this, there will be some element of rejection. Why? Because I told you in the beginning, your message is designed to push some people away. Okay, so it's not that the process doesn't work, it's actually working perfectly fine. Now communicate with the people that are receptive to the message and then translate them into your high ticket sales. Yeah, just a bit of advice for you, those of you that aren't bringing in any money into your business, but at the same time, you're still trying to push the Facebook ads, you're still trying to do the landing pages, and you're trying to do the complicated funnels. Why do I know this? Because I've been there, I did that, and it wasn't until I got to the root of really communicating with my audience and finding my micro niche did I actually get a level of success. And I'm just straight talking because I am sick to death of seeing people struggling. And the reason why they're struggling is because their mindset is holding them back, because their ego tells them that they are bigger and better than having conversations with people. I'm going to just sit here, kumbaya, and attract my audience. It doesn't work like that, my friend. Your messaging and your branding, this is coming from someone that is deep into branding. Your messaging and your branding will attract people to you and will have some attraction effect. But you've got to go out there and create those opportunities for yourself, either through a paid option by bringing leads in or going out there and getting those leads in organically. Whichever one is floating your budget right now, you have to do it. And if you haven't got the ability to do the ads, then you need to have those communication and conversations with people. All right. So that brings us to the end of this Business Booster live stream. And all I want to say is that if you haven't gone deep enough into your micro niche, then this is why your ads fail, your posts fail. If you're not having conversations with people, you're not getting the data that you need through those conversations. This is why your business is stagnant. It's why your business isn't moving forward. Or if you've got the money to pump into ads and you've not gone onto this level with your messaging, this is why your ads are not hitting the mark and why you've currently got ads burning a hole in your pocket. So if you know that this is where you are currently at in your business in any way, shape, or form, and you know that you need an external pair of eyes to help you to begin to identify what's going wrong in your business, and if you know that you've been doing this, okay, let's look at it. Let's look at timescales, because people love to say, oh, I'm just starting out. If you've been doing this, okay, for let's say more than 4 weeks, and you are not able to fix the hole yourself, then that's an indication that you need to stop expecting to do the same thing and go out there and get the help that you need, right? So if you want no obligations, you just want to have a conversation with me, for me to help you to identify where you potentially could be going wrong in your business, and for you to at least leave with a game plan of what you can do to move your business forward, then comment ready below. Just put the word ready, and either myself or a member of my team will come and we'll have a conversation with you, and I will have a free conversation with you to help you to get to the root of what's going wrong in your business. I mean, my question is always, what do you have to lose? And if you have nothing to lose, then the question to ask yourself is, what is holding you back? And if it's usually the two things, it's pride or it's ego, then I want to ask you this question: which one of those pay your bills? Tell me, which one, pride or ego, which one pays your bills? Because if you're listening to pride and ego and it's stopping you from getting the help that you need, well, there you are, my friend. That's the reason why your business isn't where you want it to be. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that Business Booster live stream. I want you to leave ready below, and I will get either myself or my team to have a conversation with you, and let's get your business moving forward. And remember, we're going to be here again next week with another amazing topic. So look out on my socials. I always let you know what the topic's going to be in advance. And I look forward to continuing to help you to grow and scale your business. If you love this content, if you love more, if you have suggestions for things that you would like to know, leave them below. Any questions that you have based on what I've said as well, leave them below and I will come through and I'll answer those questions for you. This is designed to be a resource to really help you to grow, start, grow, or scale your business. So make use of it. Until next time, take care.